You like their plan?
I do, until it fails. But I'm serious, though, Joy. I want you to try to help me understand, educate me. Mm-hmm. I trust your brain. You say that your plan is to look, you were not taking Shador at any level at the quarterback position. At any 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. You didn't want him in the building because you're looking for a quarterback of the future.
Right.
But you drafted a quarterback in the 6th round in Will Howard. Mm-hmm. So are you telling me that if Shador had dropped to the 6th round, you wasn't going to take him at all? You just wasn't going to touch him? Is that what you're telling me?
I guess so.
Because you took a quarterback.
But
specifically, you mentioned Shador.
Quarterback.
Yeah, but if Shador goes 1 round to 6, 1 more round, and you're there, are you passing on Shador?
Key, I have a great, big, beautiful brain, but even this one has limitations. I have no idea what the Steelers are doing. I do not understand it.
Because every year, in general, though, and I understand the philosophy and the thought process behind it, because you're not just thinking about the draft class of 25, you're also thinking about the draft classes of 26, and even to some degree, you're looking ahead in 27, and they do this in basketball.
So what are they? They're just tanking this season?
But you're going to be in a position to either you're going to tank, or you feel like you're going to be so bad awful that you're going to be picking in the top 5, because if the quarterback is worth any grain of salt, he's going to be in that top 5 somewhere. And if you're any good, you ain't going to be nowhere near the top 5. Right. You're going to be in the middle to the back end of the draft, which is where you always are at.
If we're going off history, yeah, that's where you'll be picking.
So how are you going to pick a franchise quarterback unless you're saying, well, we were able to get Ben Roethlisberger late, so maybe they're looking at it from that standpoint?
I don't have a bleeping clue.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that they claim they wasn't taking Shador, but yet and still, you still took a quarterback.
You still took a quarterback, and what do you know about next year?
Anything could happen.
You don't know what's coming out in the draft next year. You don't know where you're going to be picking in the draft next year. You don't know who's going to be picking ahead of you. You could have an entire top 10 of teams drafting that all feel like they need quarterbacks, who have no interest of trading out of that spot.
Correct.
You can't predict how things are going to fall a year from now, who's going to get injured in college football, who's going to look good last year.
Or who may or may not come out.
Correct.
You know, they may say, I want to stay 2 more years. I want to stay another year.
For the purposes of pleasing the media and the fans, they have to say this, because to me it looks like the Steelers' plan is that they have no plan.
That sounds about right.
The Steelers' plan, like, first of all, you don't have no choice but to wait till next year. And like you said, Key, and what you're saying, Joy, is they don't know if they're going to have a top pick next year unless they plan on tanking the season, which, from the looks of things, it looks like that must be what they're doing.
But even if you tank the season, who are you tanking for?
Right.
Exactly. Well, they have to say, look, the quarterback pool of next year is going to be greater than this year.
That's true.
They didn't believe that Shador was a franchise quarterback, as he was rated the number 2 quarterback coming out of this draft. So they're saying, hey, there's about 5 or 6 quarterbacks, and you know there's going to be some more that's going to emerge eventually that we had a radar on. Now they really pop into the radar. They say, all right, the pool of quarterbacks next year is going to be better, so we'll take our chances with that. Which means they have to do this knowing that Rodgers is over here, and if he don't decide to retire, this is their only option left.
But if you're talking about getting a franchise quarterback next year.
Yes.
Then, but also talking about bringing in Aaron Rodgers this year, the purpose of bringing Aaron Rodgers in this year would be to potentially win a playoff game, which would push you further in the draft and further away from your future franchise quarterback.
Yes, that is correct. That is what they're saying.
So the plan is they have no plan.
And if they think that, you know, they're getting close to somebody like Arch Manning, that means you are going to tank. And this is in basketball. In basketball, I can identify Wemby. I can identify him. And I can say, you know what? Come over here and sit down for a little bit. We just going to get to the number 1 spot or get into that lottery to get to the number 1 spot. The Pittsburgh Steelers can't do that.
Well, they're also, he's won with Duck Hodges. So while they may not have a plan at quarterback, somehow Mike Tomlin is going to win games. He does it every single year. Maybe they won't make the playoffs this year, but they're still going to be a winning team.
But even if they don't make the playoffs and they're a winning team, they're in the middle to the back half of the draft.
I don't know. I don't have.
It's your team.
It is, but I don't know what they're doing. I didn't like this plan from the beginning. I told you they had two quarterbacks in the building that are both going to be starters for New York football teams this year in Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Justin Fields could have been the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And Mr. Rooney said at the end of the conclusion of the season that he wanted to sign one of those two quarterbacks back, and he got neither.
I don't understand it, but they're also going back and forth with Aaron Rodgers about joining the team this season. Steelers Hall of Fame quarterback Ben Roethlisberger says that his team needs to, quote, set a deadline. Do you agree with Big Ben that the Steelers should set a deadline, Paul?
Should the Steelers set a deadline? They have no choice. They can't be out here sending threats. Like, you ain't in no position to send a threat. Like, if you don't come here by this day, then we going to stop pursuing you? Rodgers is looking like, we'll do it then. Like, come on. Y'all don't have nobody in the position. You can't set a deadline. You're not in a position to do it. Like, oh, you got a backup plan or something?
Right.
Come on. Y'all have no leverage. You can't make threats like that. I'm not buying it. They shot themselves in the foot, and they put themselves in this position to where I got a feeling that they might not make the playoffs this year. It's just something just ain't right about what's going on around the Steelers organization that I feel like there's going to be some major shakeups after next year.
They've already communicated what the deadline is to Aaron Rodgers. We just don't know, Joy. They're already telling him, and he's already telling them, I'm going to be there, don't worry, I'm coming in next week, or whatever the case is. So they kind of already know when he's going to be available, when he's arriving. They already know. I mean, it's OTAs. He should be there.
Sources would have said
be there with OTAs.
There would have been elite sources if something like that was said. 100%.
I mean, certain organizations keep things close to the vest. Certain organizations do that, and I think Steelers are one of those organizations that don't tell exactly everything.
So are they trying to win now, or are they in rebuild mode?
I think they're trying to win now. I honestly think they're trying to win.
So if you were trying to win now, then why wouldn't you, and you were bringing in Aaron Rodgers, why wouldn't you get a quarterback that could sit behind Aaron Rodgers, who's clearly only going to be there for
because they didn't feel,
while you're building a team up?
Because they didn't feel like the prospects that were on the board for them is the future when Aaron Rodgers departs. That's what they just told us.
But now you don't have, whoever is your future, if you're capable of getting a quarterback next year, which is an if that is fully out of your control, he's going to have to start right away?
That's probably what they think. Because they're looking at, let's say, 8 quarterbacks that they think, I'm just going to give a number of 8's a high number, 6. There's 6 quarterbacks that's available to them next year in the draft. And they probably feel like one of those 6 they're going to be happy with if they get an opportunity to pick them.
We'll see. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.